When most people hear the term innovation, they assume it refers to creating something drastically new, like when Steve Jobs gave us the iPhone. This puts many smart people off innovating, and it makes them wrongly assume that they are not creative. But in fact, you're innovating all the time. Listen to this episode to learn about what innovation really is and hear about the 6 ways to be an innovator. Welcome to the Tech for Non-Techies podcast. I'm your host, tech entrepreneur, executive coach, and Chicago Booth MBA, Sophia Matveeva. My aim here is to help you have a great career in the digital age. In a time when even your coffee shop has an app, you simply have to speak tech. On this podcast, I share core technology concepts, help you relate them to business outcomes, and most importantly, share practical advice on what you can do to become a digital leader today. If you want to have a great career in the digital age, this podcast is for you. Hello, smart people. How are you today? I've been having a lot of adventures lately, and I have even moved house, but more on that another time. A while ago, my company, Tech for Non-Techies, obviously, and researchers from the University of Chicago decided to investigate how the largest and most interesting companies in the world approach innovation. And so we interviewed the heads of strategy and innovation anonymously, and we also spoke to some C-suite leaders also anonymously. And, speaking to really senior people at companies on an anonymous basis is super fun because they tell you all sorts of things. And then we wrote out anonymized findings in a report called Innovate But How? The Pragmatist's Guide to Growth. I'm going to share the opening of it with you here. And in this episode, you will learn what innovation really is. And also you will learn about the different ways to approach it. And, because I headed the research, it's not your usual boring corporate blah-de-blah. And I think you will find it insightful and fun. And you know what? So literally about a month ago, I met the chairman of a major law firm. And we got talking about innovation. And then I sent him this report. After reading it, he asked me for an innovation training proposal for the entire firm, and it's a global firm where he works. So not only is this report fun and insightful, people with power and money seemingly cannot get enough. And you can get the full ebook for just $20 at techfornontechies.co/innovate or via the link in the show notes. And then you can see what impressed this chairman so much and see if you agree with him. And now, my dear smart people, here's Chapter 1 from Innovate But How? The Pragmatist's Guide to Growth. Innovation is a word on the lips of CEOs running companies that make anything from drones to chocolate. And while most of us agree that innovation is a good thing, we don't actually agree on what it is or how to do it. What we all know is that COVID has fundamentally changed business and consumer behavior. Whatever innovation strategy companies had before the pandemic has needed a thorough re-examination as we have emerged into our new post-COVID world. But first, let's ask the existential question of what is a company supposed to do? Well, before we even delve into the debate of Becker Friedman's sanctity of shareholder returns versus the more modern version of stakeholder capitalism, let us assume, for the purposes of this paper, that a company needs to do 2 things. Thing 1, survive. Thing 2, grow. To survive, it focuses on the jobs that need to be done every day. How do you keep making your product and selling it to your current customers? And to grow, the company must do something new, unless the market has drastically changed in its favor. But what is that new thing? Well, that's where innovation comes in. Innovation is opening up new value pools. Naturally, for different value pools, there are different methods. And by the way, if you actually get the report, there are lots of pretty pictures accompanying it, and I'm looking at them now, and they're really nice. Anyway, let's continue. Before we start talking about business case studies, let's think about our favorite subject, ourselves. Most of us are attempting to innovate all the time, whether we know it or not. We hire tennis coaches to improve our serve, and that's incremental innovation. We get divorced, which is breakthrough innovation. we get a post-breakup new look, and that's public innovation. Sometimes those innovations backfire. Maybe our partner was actually the right one for us after all. Whoops. Or the new haircut didn't turn us into the sex magnet that we had intended to be. Well, while no plan is perfect and life is not linear, a very high failure rate can leave us broke, alone, and with horrible hair. This is why, as individuals, we need to establish what we want from life first and then take actions that align with those goals. We also need to establish our risk tolerance from the outset and not get into territory that's frankly too much. This can help us decide whether we want to take small, steady steps, which is incremental innovation, or take giant leaps into the unknown, and that's disruptive innovation. Each approach has its benefits, but they are fundamentally different. Once we have clarity, then we can start taking relevant action in the knowledge that while some of it inevitably won't work out, we are broadly moving towards our goals. And this is why in this report, I'm going to show you lessons from business and from life. We cannot divorce the person leading the business from the actual human. So, for example, if the CEO is themselves a risk-averse human, they are not going to be great at leading a company that's heavily investing at breakthrough innovation. So have a think about your CEO. What do you think they're like? To implement the lessons from this report best, I suggest you apply them to both facets of your life, to one business challenge and to one personal challenge. People, I told you this was going to be fun. We don't do boring corporate blah-de-blah around here. Okay, now we're going to discuss which innovation strategy is right for you. That's also just continuing in the report, which is excellent. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm actually really enjoying reading this out to you. Okay, innovation efforts can be categorized into the 6 paths below. But remember, a company is a collection of humans. As humans, we've tried most of these paths in our personal lives too. So as you listen, think about what you've tried most recently and how it worked out for you. So number one is private innovation. Private innovation is part of the R&D process, and its secrets do not leave the company's walls. So the aim of private innovation is to create something completely new, or maybe even create a new market. So here's an example from the personal side of life. You have self-sabotaged one too many times and realized that you don't want to wake up with people you neither know nor like again. So you get a therapist. And here's a business example. While it is easy to think of pharma or tech businesses doing this, which they obviously do, creative businesses do this too. So the Netflix content team will probably withstand interrogation by the Gestapo before they tell you about the new shows that they're working on. Their unique programming drives new subscriptions and renewals, and it is an example of private innovation. And now here is innovation pathway 2. It's public innovation. This is when being seen as innovative is part of marketing strategy. And the aim of public innovation is to open up new markets or deepen relationships with existing customers. So here's an example from the personal side of life. You think that your new executive job requires a new look, so you hire a personal stylist who makes you look powerful and important. By the way, if you do have a fancy new job, I do actually really recommend a style makeover. It can do wonders for your confidence and how you feel and so on. Anyway, continuing. Business example of public innovation. Well, the most famous example is Burberry. Burberry invested in digital strategy and social media to attract millennial consumers and became the first fully digital luxury company. In the report, I go more into each one of these innovations, and actually you'll get a full case study of a business example and some suggestions on how you can implement it. Right now, what you're getting is the overview and the introduction. And the Burberry case study is actually really cool. Okay, now number 3, the third type of innovation, and that's incremental innovation. And here you're answering the question, what can we do to make a process cheaper or faster or easier? And the aim of incremental innovation is to deepen existing value pools rather than creating new ones. So basically improving something that you are already doing. So here is a personal life example. Actually, it's from my personal life. You love your tennis club buddies, but your game just isn't improving. You hire a tennis coach to help you out of the plateau. And here's a business example. Waldo, which is a contact lens subscription company, and for those in the UK and in the US, you would have heard of it. Their lenses are actually really good. So Waldo changed its delivery box size to fit into more letterboxes. So lots of their contact lens boxes were getting lost or stolen, and they weren't fitting through their customers' letterboxes. Customers were getting annoyed, so they literally just studied the size of letterboxes, and their innovation was to make their box really sleek and tiny so it could fit through lots and lots of letterboxes. After they did this, fewer boxes got lost or stolen, and so they arrived in glossy condition, and then that made customers, including me, happier. So more customers continued their subscription, so Waldo has lower churn, more revenue. And what I like about this is that A, it's not super technical, right? It's a cardboard box. And also the cost of this innovation is actually minuscule, but the outcome in terms of subscriptions is actually pretty high. So what I want you to see is incremental innovation can have a really big effect. And now number 4, breakthrough innovation. That's probably the one that you think of when you think of innovation. And breakthrough innovation is when a company says, we need to do something completely different. What is that different thing? How do we do it? And the aim of breakthrough innovation is to drive exponential revenue growth by entering completely new markets. A personal life example is that maybe you have a successful career as a trader and then you decide to start a fintech business. And this is an example of what Nikolai Staronsky did. He is the founder of Revolut. It's a really fantastic and very successful fintech company. And here's a business example. And I think the best business example is by Moderna. That's when there was this urgent need for a COVID vaccine, remember? And so that urgent need, advanced mRNA genetic technology, which is what Moderna was working on. And Moderna was a 10-year-old biotech company. And yes, they had billions of market value, but they basically didn't have anything approved until this one huge, massive success. So this huge, massive success was impactful for the world, for our health, but also it was massively impactful for this relatively young company. But this example with Moderna might have freaked you out because you're going to think, oh my God, I don't have a life sciences degree. Like, what am I just basically stuck making tiny boxes? Well, my answer is you do not have to be a genius scientist to lead breakthroughs. For this report, we spoke to a senior leader in an alcohol brand, and that alcohol company is moving into cannabis edibles, right? So they are expanding their market and they're leading breakthrough innovation in cannabis edibles. And in the report I asked, would you like a little buzz with your fears? I mean, hey, why not? It's Wednesday. Let's go for it. Okay, seriously, let's focus. Okay, number 5, the 5th pathway of innovation is called product innovation. And product innovation is when a company says, our customer is changing. How can we get our customer the things they want today and will want tomorrow? And the aim of product innovation is to sell new things to existing customers and to bring in new customers in response to changing tastes. And here's a personal life example. You want to get promoted to the C-suite and you know that this will require speaking to the press. And by the way, this is actually true. When you do get promoted to the C-suite, you will have to speak to the media more. And if you haven't done much of this, then you sign up for media training. So that's basically product innovation where you are the product. Okay, now here is a business example. FMCG and fast food brands invent vegan healthy alternatives for health and socially conscious consumers. And I'm sure you would have seen this, at McDonald's, at Burger King, where they have the vegan Royale. And when we spoke to leaders in FMCG and consumer brands, this is really what they were thinking about because they basically saw such a huge move to veganism. And they were saying, okay, well, people still want our snacks. People still want to eat tasty snacks. But how do we do them without milk? How do we do them with natural sugars, for example? Okay. Innovation pathway number 6. We have nearly made it, my darlings. Innovation pathway number 6 is called process innovation. And process innovation is when a company says, well, it takes us too long or it costs us too much to do something. How do we change that? And the aim of process innovation is to improve internal processes and tools to lower costs and drive revenue. So it's basically something that consumers don't see or customers don't see, but something that makes a big difference. So here's a personal life example, from yours truly. You're forever stuck in the intermediate level in your French class. So during the pandemic, you moved to the French Riviera. I actually did this, as long-term listeners of this show will know. Okay, and here is a business example. A traditional lender uses AI to process loan applications. So in Korea, there's a company called iZen, which is a fintech AI company. And iZen works with Woori Bank. And Woori Bank is one of South Korea's biggest banks. And so iZen is this AI company that basically uses AI to process loan applications. And they're partnering with a really old bank to help them improve this process and make it cheaper. And they've actually lowered transaction cost by 30%. And the reason why I know this is because the person who runs iZen is actually a friend and a classmate of mine. And he came on this podcast, and he's a non-technical founder. So for all of you who are non-technical founders and you need some inspiration, literally this guy runs an AI company and is doing incredibly well. It's really revolutionizing finance in Asia, which is obviously a fantastic and growing market. So go back and have a listen to the episode with Jace Kung. And finally, you might have seen all of these different innovations and you might think, okay, do we just have to choose one? Well, some of these innovation paths are not mutually exclusive. And so that's good news. So for example, product innovation can be a breakthrough innovation or it can be incremental growth. So while breakthrough and incremental innovation are fundamentally different, one is inventing something completely new. One is focusing, on what do we have? How can we make it better? Both breakthrough and incremental innovation can be done by the same company, but just not by the same people. And one of the frequent assumptions that we have seen is that you have to pick one path, just pick one innovation path and do nothing else. But when we were interviewing innovation leaders from the most successful companies, what we've seen is that actually companies mix them up, but just not literally in the same team. So for example, Netflix brings us private innovation in content. It brings incremental innovation in its content algorithm, and it brings us public innovation in its marketing. So those are three different paths in one company, and each contributes to revenue growth in a different way. So this is the end of the excerpt from this excellent book. Did you enjoy that? I actually really enjoyed it. I was reading and I'm like, oh my God, who wrote that? Oh, me. Yes, very good. Anyway, if you're working on innovation or want to learn about different innovation strategies, and if you want to do so in a non-boring way, then clearly this book is for you. And come on, the ebook version is only $20 and it has lots of pretty pictures in it too. Always a bonus. I've pasted the link in the show notes, and you can also just go to techfornontechies.co/innovate to get this fantastic ebook, which I highly recommend. And my dear smart person, did you find this episode informative? Did you find it insightful? Did you find it fun? Well, in that case, be a darling and leave the show a rating and a review. It really does help other smart people like you discover this show and grow in their careers. So just amazing karma points for you. Okay, now, assuming that you have left a fantastic rating and a review, I would like to thank you for lending me your beautiful ears today. I really do love the time we get to spend together. Have a wonderful day, and I shall be back in your delightful smart ears next week. Ciao!